Hello, in this video, I'm going to show you how to get user input. We are using 3 text fields and a submit. So let's go ahead and get started. It's prompted for a name. Let's use the name of Bob. And the email, we'll do bob@yahoo. And favorite number is 9. Click submit. And there we go. We can see what we typed in. So to get started, we need to go to Android Studio, descend from app to res or resources to layout, and then the layout that you'd like to use. The first thing I like to do is come in here to text and change the constraint layout to relative layout. Also, I've added a linear layout inside the relative layout. So let's go here and add a title. That way the user knows what they're doing. Let's throw it on there like that. You can see that the text view is not in the linear layout, but I'm going to move it in there. There we go. Also make sure if you are using a linear layout that you have the orientation set to vertical. Next we need to add our inputs. So the first one will be the name input, so we can use a plain text widget. So let's drag down that. Got to make sure that it is inside the linear. Let's change the text view text real quick to input the following. There we go. Next we're going to delete the word name here from the text. When this runs, the user will see the word name, and if they try to click here and they type, it'll have name and then whatever they type. We don't want that. So we're going to take out the word name, but we still want the user to know what they're supposed to put there. So we're going to set the hint to name and a sample name like this way. When the user clicks here, they can type whatever, and this name Bob won't be in the way. Next, let's add an email field and drag it down. And we're going to do the same and make this say email and sample email of bob@yahoo.com. Probably should set the ID of the name input field to name input and also the email to email. Pretty simplistic. Last 2 things, we're going to need to add a number in. And as you can see, I just added the number input, but it's not inside my linear layout, so it's kind of ugly looking. Throw that in there real quick and rearrange. There we need to change the name of this to favorite number input and set the hint to favorite number sample of 50. We need to add a button. So let's click on our button, drag it down, pop it in there, and change the text of it to submit and this to submit button. If you click on the text, you can see the XML code for what we just created, and you're going to want to take note that the input type is set to number for the number box, and the input type for the email is set to text email address, and the input type for the name is just set to text personal name, or doesn't have to be set to anything. So let's go ahead and go to our corresponding class. Mine happens to be main activity under my Java folder. You're going to need a few fields up here right below your class initiation, but above the onCreate method. First thing we're going to do is have 2 strings, one for the name and one for the email that we just created, and then an int, which has the number. This is where we're going to store the information we collect. We need to declare our 3 edit text fields, the name input, the email input, and the favorite number input. These are these 3 fields right here. And then we're going to need to declare a button. So let's change this to submit. Next, let's go inside our onCreate method and start setting things. So we need to initialize our edit text fields. So let's go name input equals edit text, find view by ID, r.id.name it, and copy and paste this one. Change this to email input and change this one to favorite number input, and again change the ID favorite number input. There we go. And let's add our button. So let's do submit button equals button find view by ID r.id.submit. There we go. Now let's add a onClick listener for our button. So type submit button dot set onClick listener new dot onClick listener, and you'll see it auto completes to add our onClick. So what do we want to do when the user presses the button? Well, we need to get the 3 things that we inputted: the name, the email, and the favorite number. So for the name, we're going to set that equal to the name input dot get text dot to. So what this does here is get the input box that we just created, and it gets the text from there and the string from that. The text is kind of a garbled mess, doesn't really make any sense, so we got to convert that to a string. And then we'll also need to get the email. And then lastly, let's get the favorite number. This is going to be a little bit more tricky because the number we inputted is technically a string, but we want to save it as an integer. So what we're going to do, type it like normal, but we'll see that we have an error here. So we're going to do integer value of, and there we go. So now we can save the value from our app into this favorite number field right here. Just to make sure that everything worked right and that we actually got the information, we're going to display it real quick. Let's go down here and we're going to use a show toast method. You're probably wondering, what is a show toast method? I don't have that. I get an error, and I'm sure you do. The show toast method is something I created right here. It's just private void show toast, takes in one argument, which is the text, which is either the name, the email, their favorite number, and it makes a toast with. So we're going to call it 3 times to display all 3 things that we received: the name, the email, and the favorite number. Again, since the favorite number is an integer, we can't display that with a toast because the toast only displays a string. So we're going to have to convert it back to a string. So you can type string.value of, and there we go. So if we were to run this, we can see that we have an application that works just like I showed you before. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed. If you have any questions, I'm here to help you. You can contact me in the comments or shoot me an email, whatever you want to do. If this method here didn't really make any sense for you, I'm sorry about that. You don't really need any of this. You can delete all that. Use this information that you save for